Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Lydia and today I'm going to walk you through the tutorial for my ME2115. This is a really simple, straightforward dress. It only has 4 pieces. It's expandable. I was even able to wear my usual size 12, 9 months pregnant. So it's pretty great for expanding and contracting with your body. And I'm sewing a size 12 today, so let's get started.
Make sure you take a look at the back of the pattern envelope for sizes and notions and read through the instruction booklet provided, especially the glossary of terms if you're unfamiliar with paper patterns. The seam allowance is 5/8 of an inch or 1.5 centimeters unless otherwise mentioned. Start by prepping your machine for shirring by threading a sewing bobbin by hand with elastic thread. And you can use a slight bit of tension. And you're going to want to do quite a few of these bobbins, and I just kept the thread from unraveling by putting a piece of tape at the end, and that worked really well. And we are going to be using regular thread on the machine needle. You'll know that if you're familiar with shirring. Stitch some test samples to find the best stitch length and thread tension for your machine. I just used a regular stitch length, and I did increase the tension by 1 point. I had a gingham seersucker in my stash, but realized it's polyester. I really don't like the feel of polyester, so I put a cotton voile on the back of the fabric, and I'm just treating them as one fabric, so don't get tripped up by the fact that I have another layer of fabric. It's not going to mess with the instructions in any way. To shirr each front and back section, piece 1, you want to mark the lines onto your fabric. I am first marking the drill hole for the strap location along the top edge of the fabric first because I'm treating the top edge a little bit differently from the pattern instructions, so just keep that in mind. Then I'm taking a highlighter and marking the tuck stitch lines in blue. This area will be folded down. And then I'm marking the start of the shirring stitch line in pink highlighter, just so that I don't mess it up. And it's good to just mark this on your pattern piece because then you won't mess up where you sew your shirring stitch lines. I mark these line locations all along the sides of my fabric on both sides. If you don't have lines in the pattern of your fabric, then you're going to want to draw the lines all across in maybe a disappearing pen of some sort. But I'm going to use the gingham as my guide and just start where I had marked it. And it's very annoying to have that cotton voile layer, so make sure you choose a fabric that you're comfortable with in the first place. 2 layers is no fun. And also a note for the front piece, mark a line down the center so that you will know later where to add the front button placket. I highly recommend pre-folding and pressing the neckline and hem before starting your shirring or sewing up the side seams. It's so much easier. Please note that I folded the neckline a bit different from the instructions. To reduce bulk on my lining piece, which you hopefully don't have, I removed the top area of the cotton voile that will be folded. I started with a 3/8 of an inch fold at the first marking, and then I fold wrong sides together at the second marking. Again, that's a bit different from the instructions. I just found it a little bit more straightforward for me. Start with your first line of shirred stitching. The right side of the fabric should be facing you with the wrong side on the machine bed, and that is the side with the elastic thread, and that will face your body when wearing it. I like to tie the thread ends together as I sew, just to secure it a little bit better. Continue to stitch all the shirred lines on the front and back pieces. Next, we're going to pin the front and back section right sides together, matching the rows of shirring. Then you're going to stitch together and overlock. I stitched both sides, but in hindsight, I would have only stitched one side together and then proceeded with the following steps so that it's easier to add the button placket in the end. After adding the button placket later, I would stitch the open side and then hem it. I did this with my white dress sample and it was so much easier. So I'm not doing it here so you'll know how it goes, but it does reduce the amount of challenge involved. Next, we are going to construct the shoulder straps. For each strap, fold the shoulder strap piece 4 in half lengthwise, right sides together. Stitch together, leaving one end open using a 3/8 of an inch seam. And then you're going to trim the corner before turning it out. Next, you're going to take it to the iron board and press it. At the neckline edge, line up the straps, centering them over the markings that we made, and stitch at 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter. Next, fold in the folded edge of the neckline and pin in place. Keep the straps out of the way. Flip down towards the body of the dress while you're doing this. Then stitch very close to this folded edge, leaving a small portion open. Stitch another line of stitching, 1/2 inch or 13 millimeters away from this first stitch on the neckline area. There's no need to leave an opening for this one. Flip up the shoulder ties at this point and catch them in this stitch. This creates the channel for the neckline elastic. Cut your elastic according to the elastic guide, which is piece 3, then feed it through the channel that we just sewed. Join the ends and sew them together. Now you can close up the opening on the neckline channel. Fuse the interfacing to the wrong side of the placket, piece 2. Fold the placket in half lengthwise, right sides together, having the raw edges even, and then stitch the side and upper edge using a 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance. Trim the corner and then turn right side out. And then you just want to do a nice press. Fold the button placket pattern piece at the fold line and line up the edge with your sewn piece. Make sure the seam allowance is eliminated along the top edge as well. Then mark your buttonholes. I like to use a small hole punch so that I can mark right through the paper. Next, sew on all your buttonholes. Now you're going to fold the placket in half lengthwise so that the buttonholes are on top and press in place. Next, we are going to finish the hem. First, overlock or zigzag the raw edge. Then fold it up 1 1/4 inch or 3.2 centimeters and press. Finally, stitch close to the inner edge to finish. Next, place the button placket down the center front of the garment and pin in place. The buttonholes should line up with the center line on your garment. You will see here how it would have been better if I had kept one side of the dress open before this step. And make sure that the top edge of the placket lines up with the elastic channel at the neckline. Stitch the placket to the dress in the fold. Also stitch along the outer edge of the inner side of the placket. Fold together the placket and mark the button location through the buttonholes. If you took my advice and kept one side open, unlike me, now is the time to stitch and overlock the open side seam. Then you can fold under whatever might remain of the button placket and stitch it in place along the hemline. Lastly, we will finish by sewing on the buttons. I found that the top edge was sticking out a little bit, so I hand stitched it down for just a short 1/2 inch portion, and that made it look really good. The full-length version of this dress is sewn exactly the same for all steps. It just has a longer button placket with one more button and buttonhole. I recommend slip stitching the bottom of the placket where there are no buttons just to keep it from gaping. So there we have it. That is your ME2115 shirred dress. I would love to see your makes. Definitely share it with me by using hashtag ME2115 and tag me at Lydia Naomi Studio. Also, tag simplicity_creative_group as they would like to see it as well. Thank you guys so much for watching.